Data from the China Index Academy tells a fascinating story. In September, the average price of new homes across 100 cities rose by a mere 0.09%. You'd need a magnifying glass to even see that increase. It's practically zero. Meanwhile, secondhand home prices continued their downward march, falling another 0.74%. And here's the gut punch. This was the 41st consecutive month of decline. For nearly 4 years, the price of a pre-owned home in China has not been able to lift its head. So we have this surreal, almost schizophrenic picture. On one side, transaction centers are buzzing with activity. Agents are run off their feet. On the other, homeowners are looking at their property valuations, and their hearts are turning to ice. The blood is draining from their faces. So, what on earth is going on? Why is volume booming while prices are bleeding? The answer is brutally simple. 2 words. Too much supply. The market is flooded with secondhand homes for sale. A biblical plague of for sale signs. In many Beijing neighborhoods, you can find a dozen listings for the exact same apartment layout. Now, put yourself in the buyer's shoes. What's your mindset? You're royalty. You have endless choices. You can take your time, compare, and haggle. See Mr. Zhang's place today, Miss Lee's tomorrow. As the old saying goes, compare 3 shops and you won't get ripped off. And the sellers? Many are desperate to offload their old, shabby small apartment in a less-than-prime location to upgrade. So they're willing to compromise on price to close a deal quickly. This is called trading price for volume. Plainly put, homeowners can't hold on any longer. They are slashing prices, sacrificing their gains to have a chance at selling it all. The market today is a giant balancing scale. On one side, a mounting of inventory from anxious sellers. On the other, a pool of buyers who are holding cash and are savvier and more demanding than ever. The new policies just added a small weight to the buyer side, tilting the scale slightly towards activity. But it's nowhere near enough to allow sellers to stand tall and name their price. This boom we're seeing is largely a one-time release of pent-up demand, squeezed out like the last bit of toothpaste from a tube. Once it's out, it's out. It hasn't fundamentally changed the supply-demand equation. So why are new home prices stable? Because developers are shrewder than a barrel of monkeys. They know that only top-tier products sell right now. So they're bringing out their crown jewels, premium projects in prime city locations. It's like a restaurant finally serving its secret, off-menu signature dish. Of course it'll fetch a good price. But this is limited to the best cities. In 3rd and 4th-tier cities, developers aren't thinking about price hikes. They're thinking about survival. The secondhand market tells the raw, unvarnished truth. Take Beijing. A tiny, aging apartment in a core district with access to an elite school, the price is still rock solid. That's a truly scarce resource, like a limited edition Hermes bag. But a similar apartment in a remote commuter town? It's a bloodbath. A friend of mine bought at the peak last year and is now so crushed by his mortgage, he's considering defaulting. He says his complex is littered with foreclosure notices. Each one drags the neighborhood's home values further down, creating a vicious cycle. This isn't a blip. It's a fundamental shift. So how long can this last? Is it a flash in the pan? Right now, the industry is watching 2 things: policy and confidence. The government has already administered round after round of heart-calming pills and will likely inject more adrenaline, rate cuts further easing to prop up the economy. But confidence, that's a much trickier beast. Today's buyers aren't broke, they're scared. Scared of becoming the sucker left holding the bag at the top of the market. After watching prices fall for 4 years, can you blame them? Nobody wants to empty the life savings of 6 wallets, themselves, their parents, and their grandparents, only to find their net worth evaporating overnight. This isn't a bull market rally. It's a technical rebound induced by policy. And don't forget the Sword of Damocles hanging over every homeowner's head, that towering, seemingly infinite mountain of listed properties. It could trigger a price avalanche at any moment. So, what should you, the average person, do in this twisted, complicated market? First, breathe. Ignore the breathless headlines. Time is on the buyer side. Impulsiveness is the devil, especially when you're betting the family fortune. Second, understand that the future is all about divergence. Prime assets in prime cities are the A students who will still get into top universities. Everything else is in the remedial class, facing a long struggle. If you must buy, you need to be a detective. Look past the surface level noise. Volume is up, great! But what's the actual price doing in the neighborhood you want? Is the listing inventory growing or shrinking? These are the vital signs that tell the real story. If you're buying out of necessity, marriage, schooling, now is a decent window. You have leverage. But for God's sake, don't over-leverage yourself betting on a rebound. Live within your means. If you're an investor dreaming of getting rich quick, I urge you to be extremely cautious. The era of close your eyes and buy is over. This is not that world anymore. This golden September was, in essence, a massive stress test. It revealed the potency of policy stimulus, but it also exposed the market's true, fragile floor. The policies have grabbed the reins of a market in freefall, but they haven't given it the power to gallop forward. The health of the property market is tied inextricably to the health of the economy, to jobs, to income. This party can't last if the guests don't have faith in a brighter tomorrow. After all, a home is for living in, not for speculation. Only when people truly believe their future is secure will they willingly pour their life's work into a box of reinforced concrete. The world has never lacked for smart people. It lacks people who know how to get out before the music stops. And right now in this market, protecting your wallet might be the smartest move of all. As a recent poem circulating online aptly put it, "The state's strong medicine, a market to save. The outer ring's now a chaotic wave. With limits lifted, the buyers all rave. With agents are frantic, no moment to spare. But prices are falling in silent despair. New homes and old, a world of contrast to bear. As listings hang heavy like frost in the air. Don't rush to believe that a true spring is nigh, lest you find yourself trapped on a mountain peak high." That's all for this episode. Until next time. The headlines are screaming celebration. The data is a riot of surging numbers. China's property market, we're told, is back with a vengeance in what they call Golden September. But what if I told you that behind this deafening noise is a deafening silence? That this frenzy is nothing more than a party for the impulsive, while the smart money watches quietly from the sidelines. Stay with me, because we're about to peel back the layers of this dazzling spectacle to find a much colder, much harsher reality underneath. Let's talk about the beast itself. Chinese real estate. An asset class that has, for decades, broken the backs of heroes and made fortunes for speculators. And now, thanks to a gale force policy wind, it's doing some frantic sit-ups trying to get back in shape. If you've paid any attention to financial news lately, you've been bombarded by the phrase Golden September, Silver October, the traditional peak season for sales. For the past 2 years, Golden September was more like Iron September, or even Mud September. The quality was so poor that developers joked they'd make more money quitting to drive excavators. But this year, the script flipped. In August and September, as if on cue, the Tier 1 titans, Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen, unleashed a dazzling flurry of policy changes. It was a masterclass in coordinated stimulus. Shanghai's 6 articles were the star of the show. They loosened everything. Purchasing limits, public housing fund rules, credit lines, taxes, you name it. Imagine you're a runner, weighed down with sandbags on your ankles and a weighted vest. Suddenly, someone cuts them all loose, gives you a hard shove from behind, and yells, "For God's sakes, run!" The effect was instantaneous. Think of the property market as a tired, old smartphone that's been on a slow charger for months. You know, charge for 2 hours, get 5 minutes of talk time. Then in August, someone plugs in a brand new power bank. Whoosh, the battery meter shot up. In Shanghai, sales of new and secondhand homes combined hit 2.07 million square meters in September. That's up 8% from August. But compared to the tragic, miserable September of last year, a staggering 24% surge. To put that in human terms, Property agents are now walking with a swagger. Their phones are ringing off the hook. The red notification dots on their WeChat apps are spreading like a persistent rash. It was like a crowd of people who'd been starving for days or suddenly unleashed on an all-you-can-eat buffet, with a slight chuckle. You can bet they went at it with everything they had. The areas outside the city's outer ring road, previously choked by purchasing restrictions, instantly became the belle of the ball. Buying a home there used to be as arduous as a historic expedition. Now, the gates have swung wide open. After the new policies, daily sales of new homes in these areas jumped by 40%. Secondhand homes? They accounted for 57% of the entire city's transactions, holding up more than half the sky. And it wasn't just Shanghai. Shenzhen, the tech hub, saw its combined home sales rocket to over 7,600 units, up nearly 40% year-on-year. Remember, this is one of the most heavily regulated markets in the country. A search like that tells you one thing: the pent-up demand was like steam in a pressure cooker. The moment you give it an escape valve, it'll blow the lid clean off. Beijing's Golden September was just as shiny. Over 15,800 secondhand homes were sold, a jump of 20%. So yes, the policy stimulus worked. It was like pouring gasoline on a flickering flame. The scene was pure spectacle. Beating drums, clanging gongs, a sea of people. You'd think the New Year celebrations had come early. But this is a very, very big but. If you think this is the triumphant return of the property bull, that prices are about to board a rocket to the moon, and that you're just one property flip away from your happily ever after, I suggest you go splash some cold water on your face. Because this drama has a second act, a much more real and a much more brutal one. The transaction volume is on fire, but the price? The price is in a world of ice. It is a tale of two markets.